Would you like to tell us a bit about yourself and why you're standing as councillor for St Anne's Ward?
Well, I've lived in Harringay since 1981 and I have a very strong commitment to the borough, which I suppose is why I decided finally to run and be a councillor. I moved here with my daughter when I was a single parent after I lived in America for 7 years, and at that point in my life I was starting again, and Harringay had a marvellous policy at the time where if you had a sibling in the borough you could apply for housing, and I was lucky enough to get rehoused here, and I have never forgotten that when I really needed somewhere to live, that Harringay provided that for me, and it supported me when I was a lone parent and needed childminding, and I think that you never forget those things. So perhaps that's one reason why I finally decided that I would run for the council, because there are issues I care very deeply about and I think I can do something about them.
Do you have a vision of the Harringay you'd like to see in the next 5 to 10 years? What one thing would do more than any other to get us there, and what will you do to see that it's achieved?
Right. Well, the Harringay I'd like to see is one which is clean. It's a bit trite to say green, but I would like to see it cleaner and greener. What do we need to do to get there? I think we need to deal with the terrible problems that emerge because of housing policies around HMOs, temporary accommodation and private landlords, and I think that should be the top priority for the new council. I think that should be our defining issue, is that we are going to work hard to actually deal with the endless problems that have emerged because of the exploitation of the private sector housing market in this borough.
What else will you be working to change, and what will you do to achieve it?
I think I'd like to work around issues around how the council relates to local people. I think it's got a bit stuck and has to rethink that relationship, because we need to be more open. There's nothing to be frightened of to be open with people, to hear what people have to say and to work with people. I've learned that over many years when I was a community worker, both in America and here, and I think that it is counterproductive to have a culture which is closed and which sees local people as somehow something to be feared or people not to engage with. So I think that we have to have proper community engagement, proper participation. There are lots of ways of doing that, things like planning for real, tried and tested, and I think there's a big agenda to improve that, and in a borough like this, which is so complex with so many communities, that is the way we need to go.
What will you do to stay in touch with understanding residents' main concerns?
I think you need to be able to communicate with people in all sorts of different ways. So obviously there are the residents associations, the Friends of the Parks group, there are consultation meetings, there are the planning applications, there's all the development control meetings. All those are ways in which you find out what people think, you stay in touch. It could have a newsletter or some form of blog, although that's not something I'm particularly experienced in, but I can see that that has enormous potential. Using Harringay Online, obviously expect me to say that, but I think there are all sorts of ways. Going to the parents' open day at the nursery or at the school, these are tried and tested ways of liaising with people, and there are other ways you find out through walkabouts, through Homes for Harringay. St Anne's Ward is not just the Garden's End. There are some estates in the ward, and they need, I think, quite a lot of attention. I think they need some serious investment.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, I'm very hard working. I've always worked hard, and I'm quite resilient, and I'm very committed. So if I take something on, I like to see it through. There are some big issues that I really care about, which may not be the most populist issues in the borough. For example, early years is something I've worked in for many years, and I'm absolutely passionate about the need for high quality early education. And this borough was a leader, and we need to be a leader again, and that will take some political leadership to defend the early years funding. Having first class libraries, I think Harringay's libraries now are first class, and we need to make sure they stay first class. So early learning, literacy, making sure there's family learning, all those sorts of things which in regeneration they call the soft skills, the soft areas, which I think are really, really important in building a cohesive borough. So for me, those are things that A, I know about, B, I care about, and C, I would work damn hard to make sure they were top of the political agenda. And finally, I would say the point of a politician is to lead, is to set the policy. So you run it and you set the policy and the tone for the organisation, because that is a good thing. If we do it well, you change the nature of the organisation, which must be good for local people. To be outward looking, not inward looking.
Okay, thank you.